I love that. Okay, I feel like what I just got from that is like I'm gonna begin like yelling yes out when I'm doing hard things, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
begin to feel hard, like I need to sit and do my taxes.
Yes, yes, taxes, yes, yes, taxes. Yes, I love you, taxes. Oh, taxes.
I'm going to seriously. I feel like as you were saying that, it just brought that in. Like, yeah, it's yes, it's gonna bring a whole different level to things.
Hey, friend. This episode feels like a sacred offering. To be in conversation with Anita Kopacz is to sit in the presence of someone who channels the divine with grace, depth, and power. From the moment that we connected, I felt enveloped in warmth and wisdom and the kind of loving truth that just enlightens you and calls your soul forward. Anita carries the vibration of the mystic and the storyteller. Her words are not just spoken, they are felt. She moves through the world with reverence for pleasure, for healing, and for the reclamation of our full embodied selves. In our dialogue, she reminded me what it means to walk the path of the sacred creative, to live in alignment with our sensuality, our intuition, and our inner knowing, even in the face of trauma. What unfolded in our dialogue was more than just a conversation. It was like a ceremony, a weaving of soul threads. We explored the alchemy of storytelling, the expansion that comes from allowing ourselves to feel good. And the deep truth that joy is not a frivolous act, it is a reclamation, a revolution. If your heart has been longing for permission to soften, to open, and to remember who you are beneath the noise, this is your invitation. Let's enter this space together. So I want to let you guys know that I have changed the name of my breathwork from mountain breathwork infused with Reiki, which is just quite a mouthful, and some people don't really understand what it means, to transformational breathwork, because we just get it more now. We get what that means. And you're going to have, if you show up and you allow me to guide you, a deep, beautiful transformation. I've been working more one-on-one with people, and that is really rewarding for them and for me. So if you're wanting some one-on-one support to feel held, seen, known, loved, and have the ability to regulate your nervous system and rewire, really from the base, it's really the hack. Instead of 10 years of therapy, it's like one session can really get to the root of what those blocks and those fears, and we don't even have to understand it or analyze it, is what's so beautiful. Same as with the Reiki energy. We can just allow the breath and the retraining to do its own work, the body to do its own work, the wisdom. And you're your highest authority, so you get to kind of decide how far and how deep you're going to go, and you're only going to have the healing that you're ready and willing to have. So I'm actually about to do a private session now. I had one yesterday. They're going so well, and people are just getting so much out of it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you one-on-one. Reach out to me if that's something that you're wanting to try. And I promise you're going to have a beautiful experience. Welcome to The Authentic Creative, where we expand our capacity to feel good one deep breath, one bold choice, and maybe a little bit of magic at a time. I'm Siri Baruch Thornton, healer, creative, and lifelong explorer of all things energy, self-expression, and joy. With over 26 years of experience in Reiki, Akashic Records, and transformational breathwork, I've learned that feeling good is not a luxury, it's a practice. And sometimes it's a little messy. This podcast is here to help you trust your intuition, break the rules, the ones that need breaking, and live more fully in your gifts. So give yourself a deep breath, get cozy, and let's dive in. I am over the moon. I've got an incredible new friend here. Anita Kopacz is the author of the Simon Schuster fiction novels Shallow Waters and The Wind on Her Tongue. Charlemagne the God released these titles on his imprint, Black Privilege Publishing. Anita is the former editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul magazine and managing editor of Beauty Sense magazine. She is an award-winning writer, a spiritual psychologist, and a certified Tantra coach with a passion to see people thrive. Anita also created the nonprofit Zero F's Given to raise awareness and help victimized and disenfranchised populations heal from sexual trauma, find their voice, and reclaim their power. She has helped thousands of victims through her work with Zero F's Given and being on the board for the Center for Safety and Change. Through leading retreats around the world with the Goddess Wisdom Council, working with private clients and storytelling, Anita fulfills her intention to awaken the divine simplicity, pleasured joy in her life and others. Oh my goodness. All I can say is you're incredible. I mean, I usually end the interviews by telling people how incredible they are, but I have to start by saying, what a gem in the world. And your heart of service is electric, and your mission is massive, and you're doing it with so much pleasure and joy and ease and fulfillment and thriving energy. Like, yes, please. More of you.
Yes, you're making me cry over here. Tear up. I appreciate that. I appreciate your words and just feeling into. I imagine there's some mirroring energy here. Just for there. Like what I'm feeling from you, it feels like, oh, kind of sounds like you.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I do love everything you're doing, and I was sharing with you that my mom is very much in alignment with her mission of anti-sex trafficking work that she has been doing, and it's very important to her. And I was saying that she'll be very proud of me for interviewing you. It's really an important mission, and so well, you know what? I don't want to start there. I really want to start with, what was your childhood like? Give me the first nutshell of the first 18 years of your life, because where did you begin? The miracle that you are. How did it all begin?
Oh my gosh. To me, it was a dream. My childhood was a dream. And that's not to say that there was not any trauma. There was trauma that happened, but I'll start with just how much it was a dream. My parents are such amazing beings. My mother is from St. Kitts. My dad is from Poland. They
Wait,
met
where is St. Kitts? Sorry for the...
in the Caribbean.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's a small, tiny, tiny island south in the Caribbean.
Got it.
And they met in England.
Oh, wow.
I was the first one born here in the United States. So
Okay.
they decided to move to California. And at first, they were feeling like they didn't want to have kids because my mom is Black, my dad is white, and they didn't know what the world was going to be like for mixed children.
What year was that?
Well, this would have been in the late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
So there was so much going on.
Yeah.
All those things were happening in the US.
Yeah.
But it felt different for them in different parts of the world, right? So they'd lived in Poland, in England, but they ended up coming to Fresno, California.
Of all places, yeah. Nice. Good weather.
Exactly. Great produce.
Yeah. Lots of oranges.
Strawberries. It's amazing in that way. But yes, they had a lot of children. I have 5 sisters with my mom and dad, and then I have 2 other sisters. So there's 7 sisters all together.
Like the chakras.
Oh my gosh. About that.
Are you the roots? Because you're wearing red?
So it's interesting because I would probably be the sacral.
Okay. Yeah, because you do the tantra.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to put that together though, because I want to see.
Okay.
sisters who would be what chakra. But yes, there are 7 sisters. And so we grew up in Fresno, California, actually on the outskirts um like in the country, on like just no neighbors.
Wow.
So it was all imagination. Like we just played outside all day long.
Mm.
And so everything was about us creating things, having imagination. I know times are different, and a lot of us who are older back in the day, we weren't around parents the way kids are around parents now.
That's true.
We learned how to deal with miscommunications. We learned how to deal with emotions, right? With peers. And so I think that was, a real jewel of just growing up. I'm all feral. I'm not just kidding. I want to.
Yeah, I really met one of my favorite things is seeing my kids play outside in the snow when it snows or playing on the beach on the ocean, because a lot of the time, unfortunately, they're on their screens, except for in the summer when I force them to do nature camp. So, what a beautiful experience you had.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very, very grateful for my childhood and just being out in the middle of nowhere, being with nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then college, did you go to college? What was that like?
Yes. So I went to UC Berkeley for
Oh,
my
yeah.
undergrad. I did civil engineering
Okay.
thing, and until my senior year, really, I just was like, I don't, well, this is funny. I was like, I don't want to be on a screen. I know, right? I don't want to be on a screen for the rest of my life. I didn't realize that's kind of just what life was going to turn into.
So civil engineering, that's so different from what you do. What was kind of the
Different. So
angle on that for you?
for me, I was always like a math and science.
Yeah.
And I loved bridges and how cities figure out, how do we handle the amount of people, and if the city grows, what do we do? I was like obsessed with that kind of stuff. And so that's what I thought I was going to want to do. And eventually I just realized I just fell in love with storytelling. And it happened my senior year. They were just my advisors were like, if you don't take freshman English, you're not going to graduate. And I was scared of English. I'm severely dyslexic, which is like, why would I choose to be a writer and editor in chief? Who knows?
What the hell?
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, but like some of the most incredible people are dyslexic. And that I think there's like a gift, right?
There's definitely some sort of gift, but it's like, like
It's challenging.
challenging. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, let me just take it. And the teacher I had, it's so funny, I can't remember her name, but she was North African, Algeria, I believe. And she basically had me fall in love with literature and
Blessed.
storytelling. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was so scared of it before because of the dyslexia and just feeling like, no, my home is in math and science. I understand that. There's an answer to everything, right? Like
Yeah. Logical, rational. It makes sense.
yeah, exactly. And so once I did that, I was like, no, this is what I want to do. I want to be a storyteller. And I ended up doing my master's in spiritual psychology, which is where I met Cora.
Hey, we're going to pause here for just a moment. What's the thing that's never getting better? The thing that keeps you up at night? The loop you can't seem to break free from? Bring it to our Akashic record reading session. This isn't just a reading. It's a sacred conversation with your soul, with your team, your masters, teachers, and loved ones and guides. a place where the deepest parts of you are seen, heard, and understood. What happens in a session? You receive the clarity you've been searching for. You get the validation for what you've been feeling but couldn't quite name. You experience an energy clearing, releasing lower vibrational and stuck emotions so you can move forward lighter, freer, and more aligned. What if the answers you've been seeking are already waiting for you? In this space, you can finally breathe, release, and receive the relief you've been craving. One session or a package are available over Zoom from anywhere in the world. It's time to lift the weight off your heart. Say yes to clarity. Say yes to relief. Message me to book your Akashic Record reading today. Link in the show notes. And we're back.
Doing my master's in spiritual psychology, which is where I met Cora at USM.
Cora Poage, she was on our panel yesterday.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, nice. I love that. So, yes. So that's where I met Cora, and I did my master's in spiritual psychology because I am also, which is interesting, it's not in my bio, but as a spiritual psychologist, the reason I decided to become one is because I'm an intuitive. I've been doing readings since I was a teenager.
Right, right.
So what I was realizing was doing the readings, it kind of felt like I was a part of almost like a circus. Like people would come and like get the readings and then go out and nothing changes, and they come back and get another reading, but it's more like they're just like, how did you know that? You know, like that kind of energy. And I was like, I don't really see the value in like what I'm doing if there's going to be no change.
Yeah.
And so that's why I decided to do psychology, so that I can learn the tools that can.
Was that the school, the spiritual psychology school? Was that the one in Santa Monica? Yeah, I know a lot of people that went to that.
Yes, a lot of people have gone there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yami Confront went there. She was one of the main reasons I went, because I really look up to her writing and you know, what she's done in this world. And I saw that she went to the University of Santa Monica, so I was like, oh, let me look into it. And so
It's amazing. It sounds like an incredible experience for everyone that's gone. So, okay, I want to ask you, what is currently, let's come to present time, lighting you up or bringing you joy in your creative and spiritual life?
ooh, lighting me up and bringing me joy. I mean, my stories are, this book just came out, so this is The Wind on Her Tongue, and this is the art copy, so this is not like the one that's, I don't have like the hardcover with me, but
So we'll put a link in the show notes so you guys can check it out.
yes. And so that's lighting me up because I'm on my book tour right now, so I'm getting to talk about it. It's a little different because I'm not getting to really talk about the story because the people haven't read it yet, and I'm dying to like dive in and talk about the story. Like, so I did do a book club last week. I went to like a local group of women read the book, so I went to the book club and we got to dive in and talk about it. So that was some yumminess, because of course I don't want to ruin the book for anyone.
So, okay, so you could tell us though, like what the experience was of these women and what they were feeling.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, from what they said, they loved it.
Right. I'm sure they did.
And the books that I write are about the Orishas, which are, for lack of a better word, like the gods and goddesses of the Ifa people in Nigeria, Yoruba. So they're Yoruba people, and the Ifa is their religion. And so I would say one of my main intentions with this is so that people know those gods and goddesses as well as they know the Greek ones, the Roman ones, right? Just getting it out, so it's just everyone is like, oh yeah, I know who Yemaya is. I know who Oshun is, like just so it's a part of our vocabulary.
And it'll start to become people's kids' names and their dogs' names and just a part of the culture. Yeah.
Part of the culture. So that's one of the things that I wanted.
Okay, so can I just ask you, though, what got you interested in that and researching that and bringing that to light?
That's a great question because it was something that I can't really put into the words. It was like a calling, like I felt
Okay.
attracted. And this happened, I was in college the first time I felt so called to the Ifa tradition. And one of my friends told me about Yemaya, who is the main character in Shallow Waters. She's a black mermaid. And she was said to watch over the enslaved Africans as they went over the Middle Passage. And I was like, what? There was a black mermaid looking over my ancestors, right? Like, I was like, wait, what is this?
Yes.
I like wanted to learn and I felt so called to it. Well, an interesting thing, when Shallow Waters came out, African Ancestry got a hold of me and they were like, do you want to see what your ancestry is? I was like, yes, right? For so many African Americans and Africans within the diaspora, we don't necessarily know where our ancestors are from, right? Because we were brought over.
Is that because the records aren't there?
That's because the records were like cut off. They didn't want any of the enslaved Africans knowing where they came from, didn't want them studying their religion,
so disempowering. Yeah.
Yeah, their language. Exactly. They didn't want them connected to anything that gave them power. Exactly. It's disempowering them. And so I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So we did my ancestry and I found out that I am Yoruba and Hausa, which are two tribes in Nigeria. So that's literally why I was called to it without even knowing. Right?
Yeah. It was just intrinsically in you to, you're called. It's like you're called to the ocean. You're the mermaid. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it felt so, it felt like home. Anytime I would learn more, I'm like, oh, this feels so good. And what's really interesting within the diaspora as well is that these stories were not only not taught to us, they were told that they were demonic. Right?
Okay.
To keep us away from learning about those stories. And so it's been definitely a journey because while like in the beginning it was like forced onto them, like to be like, no, this is demonic, you have to take on Christianity. And it's happened all around the world. I'm just now learning about what happened with St. Patrick and in Ireland, where all the goddesses were demonized when St. Patrick came. And I'm like, what? I didn't know.
That's your next book.
What? I'm like, okay, it's, like this story has happened to so many people in different forms, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the witch wound. And gosh, this work you're doing, I mean, you have such important work you're doing. Because on so many levels, it's not only revealing the real stories, but it's also kind of the crumbling of the untruths and the control of women and of our history. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And, speaking of that, the witch hunts in Europe were prolific. The amount of women that they killed there was way more than what happened in the U.S.
In Salem, yeah, okay.
In Salem, yeah.
Yeah.
In Europe, there were thousands.
Wow.
Thousands. And so I know at this point there, I think in is it Scotland, in one of the places there, they are starting to apologize for because, these women were like midwives, scientists, like powerful women.
Yeah.
And it's they're just now beginning to say like, okay, maybe we should apologize for what happened. And but yes, the witch wound, absolutely. It goes across all people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's so much for us to talk about. So you're lit up by the stories, by these goddesses, by this rich history and these myths. And I mean, how much is myth and how much is nonfiction? Because that's the question, right?
The question,
I'm
right?
like, where is it? It's a blurry line.
It's the books are historical fiction.
Okay.
So what I did was I personified these goddesses and brought them into storylines that were, the first one was in like 1850s, the second one is in the 1870s. It's a trilogy, so there's a third one coming.
Exciting.
And that is going to take place like right in the beginning of the 1900s.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of historical figures in there, and historical figures that have been demonized in real life. So I was kind of giving them their flowers in a way. So like Marie Laveau, who was the famous voodoo queen of New Orleans, has been demonized in so many ways. But you know, when you go to New Orleans, the amount of love they have for her and the history they tell you is so different than what is in pop culture. When like looking at a TV show where she's drinking baby's blood to stay young, right? You know, and it's like,
Mm.
you really do that.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you hear about the stories of people who knew her, and or accounts of people who knew her, where she was such a healer, and
Wow.
she was helped. One of the things that she did was she helped men who were on death row. She would go visit them, speak with them, and there are also rumors that when they were about to be put to death, if they asked her, if they were like, you know, asked her for this favor, she would
Mhm.
poison their last meal so they would
Oh.
die.
She's a death doula.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so there's so many amazing things that I learned about her by going to New Orleans, speaking to the people. I found there was one thing that seemed so like out of place because she's a Black woman, but she also owned slaves. And
Whoa.
I was like, this doesn't feel right. She was a part of the Underground Railroad, right? I was like, it's not matching.
Yeah.
This. I did so much research. I finally found someone's dissertation. I don't know if it was real or not, but when I read their dissertation, I was like, this is the truth. This feels right to me.
Yeah.
That she owned the enslaved Africans and gave them the basically she would buy them and then either give them the option to, you know, go on the Underground Railroad and leave, or work for her for money, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's not making sense to me. If she's on the Underground
Right.
Railroad, why would she own slaves? But I don't know. I really don't know what the history is of that. But that,
Yeah. You love it. You are like brought alive by uncovering. You're like an archaeologist of this work, of these untold stories and truths that might not be true. It's really cool.
I love it. I'm a nerd. You could say it. I'm a nerd.
Yeah, a historical nerd in the best way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're so multifaceted because you're also doing this sort of anti-sex trafficking work, right? Like tell us more about that.
Yeah. So there's so many different layers of it. I would say where I come in is more in the healing.
Okay.
So for mostly for women who have experienced any form of sexual violence. A lot of my work that I've done goes towards helping them heal. And when I was, I'm I guess I am still on the board of the Center for Safety and Change, but I'm on leave, right?
Okay.
On I'm not an active board member right now. But one of our years, the youngest girl that was trafficked was 7 years old.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. And I'm sure there's younger. Yeah. I mean, I know stories that would break our hearts. Yeah.
Yeah.
The age doesn't matter, basically. Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. But I was like, it's so unbelievable. Like a lot of the things that happen are so unbelievable. But then when I walk into a room where there's all of these women who have gone through that, one would never know when you walk
Okay.
in the room.
Okay.
Never know, because they're just like women, just like sitting there, waiting for a workshop or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
And so and obviously if you go deeper, yes, that's where you begin to see it, but it's people who are just walking in the street.
Yeah.
And it's passed by all the time. It's kids that are in our family, or in our neighborhood.
It's so prevalent. It's really, I don't know the statistic, but it really is. I would imagine like 1 out of every 5 women, maybe something crazy.
And I think it's 2 out of every 5 have been sexually
Assault. Yeah.
assaulted
Yeah.
in some way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's reported.
Okay. And then there's all the
Every-
unreported. Yeah.
Unreported. Almost all the women I've worked with, not the ones within the center, but the ones that I've worked with privately, no one has reported. No one has.
Because the shame and the feeling that, yeah. So I was listening to Glennon Doyle's book Untamed, and she was talking about how there'll be, groups of women that'll all testify against one man, and even in a group of, say, 20 women, they'll believe the man. Why? It's crazy.
Yeah. Because it does feel unbelievable, some of the things that they do. So it's like, what? It's and I think, well, I really don't know. I don't know why it happens. There's it's such intense, to me, feeling like sickness, right? Within our society. I know that it's a huge moneymaker.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Is it like $1 billion industry?
It's crazy. It's like that. Like they're like a virgin could be $1 million for one night.
Wow.
It's and it's always changing, but it's a big industry in that way, because there's so much they have to do to make sure nobody finds out, right? Like so many layers that they have to go through. And but where I work with the women who have who are on their healing journey.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily just from trafficking, from any form. So if they were molested, or if they were raped, or like whatever form of sexual violence. Another thing that does happen a lot, gosh, we've kind of gone south in this, but one thing that has happened a lot are parents and step parents do a lot. So a lot of the molestation happens within
incest. Yeah, and also it's interesting because women will block it out and not become aware of it sometimes ever, but maybe not until they finally feel safe with a partner later in life, and then they're like, why am I having these visions or nightmares or migraines or whatever's in their body that's screaming, actually there's trauma here. Yeah.
And for me, the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I was molested when I was 7.
Mm.
And I wasn't able to even talk about it until I was probably in my 20s.
Mm.
And I remember maybe when I was around 10, I was watching Oprah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oprah shared what happened to her. And I felt like everyone, I couldn't even breathe. Like I was so scared. I thought everyone would know.
Right.
But I had that moment where I was like, oh my gosh, if Oprah has experienced this and she can do all of this in life, this is not going to stop me,
Yeah.
right? It's not going to stop me. If anything, it's going to empower me. I
And Maya
wasn't,
Angelou, right? Like, she didn't speak for years. And she became this incredible human. I mean, not that different from you in a lot of ways.
I'll take,
You
I'll,
know, writers,
yeah,
humanitarians, working for the greater good of women, like, amazing.
thank you. Yeah. So I think, you know, it's that moment of, um, kind of almost putting the shame where it belongs, because
Yeah,
when something like that happens, a lot
that's
of
right.
the victims take on all of the shame.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's really the movement, right? Is like, we don't need to hold this. We're giving it back.
Giving it back.
Yeah.
That's right. We're giving it back. I love that.
Hmm. Yeah, well, okay. So,
Let's take a moment and
how
like shake it up.
how has storytelling become a tool for healing and reclaiming power in your life and in the lives of others? I mean, we're already talking about this, but just in terms of uplifting the energy of the conversation.
Exactly. So for me, these stories that I'm doing, the storytelling, I think I call them medicine stories, because I am writing about a time that was very intense in American history. So during slavery. And I wanted to create something where, um, because historically for me, if I've seen a movie about slavery or read a book about slavery, I'm so angry and like livid, right? Like
I
after,
remember watching Roots in 5th grade. For days, we would watch it. And it was like, what are we watching? Okay, but then you'll appreciate this. When I opened my Akashic Records, one of the first times, I saw a lifetime where I was part of that. And I was like, okay.
that's why, right? I mean, it's the thing, right? When we think of all of the different lifetimes we might have lived, who knows who we were and
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so the healing, so what I did with this was I infused it with healing. So after people read it, it's not that same feeling, even though it was that same time, right? I'm bringing in these divine characters who are experiencing it, but experiencing it from this place of, what is this? They're not embodied in the trauma in that way, because they're, you know, one is a mermaid, one is just like Storm from X-Men. That's Oya is my second one, who is Yemeya's daughter.
Love
And
it.
and Storm from X-Men was actually fashioned after Oya.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's like very powerful warrior who can control the weather. And and so when these fantastical figures are placed into these historical places, I feel like it kind of is almost like a spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down.
right. Yeah. It brings empowerment and a perspective that you can actually look at it without just getting drowned in it. Yeah. Yeah. So, what does it mean to you to expand your capacity? This is a total kind of pivot here, but we're talking about healing, and upliftment and empowerment to expand your capacity to feel good. What does it mean to expand your capacity to feel good, especially when working with trauma or deep transformation.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious. You're such an intuitive. I mean, I think you know that already, but I'm just like, really, this question. So my theme for this year is joyful expansion.
Well, see, this is why we're here together. Yeah.
And so I think to expand our capacity is really us being able to receive the things that are already within our world, right?
Yes.
Like here already.
Yeah.
And okay, so now let me expand my capacity in order to receive these gifts.
Yeah.
And joy, celebration, especially right now in a time when there are so many things happening, right, in the world. It's like that is almost a form of revolution.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what Tanji said yesterday, literally. And I put it at the very front of the panel. She was like, we are joy warriors because that is the revolution.
Yes, exactly. Right. And coming back into just kind of how we grew up into that type of community where it's like, can we come together? Because when we come together in community with I would say the intention to rise,
Yeah.
what we get, like we are each other's medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And those goddess circles that
my medicine.
I- can you tell my mom that? Oh my God. And me that. Tell me that. I need the reminder. Yeah, get off my freaking phone. The circles that you do, I feel like that's where we're at. Can you talk to me about the circle, the goddess circle? Because I started doing retreats called the Goddess of Light retreats.
Oh,
Yeah. So
So
I
you-
just want to hear about because you've been doing this for a while.
yes, I've been doing this for a long time as far as circling people up. I do try to say people, and sometimes we'll get one or two men.
Okay.
Mostly it's been women. And right now we are actually getting ready to do our Costa Rica retreat. And there's 2 spots left.
You guys get in touch if you want to go to Costa Rica. Costa Rica's big on my radar right now. This is the first women's retreat I ever went to was in Costa Rica. And then I went again, and then I've been manifesting that I'm going to be doing a retreats in Costa Rica again. Okay, so you're doing this retreat in Costa Rica. When is it?
It's April 8th through the 13th of 2025. So if you're hearing this before then,
I'm going to put this out very soon.
okay, perfect. And so that's with the Goddess Wisdom Council. So that's me, Cora, who you know, so Cora Poj, Yadi Albaran, and then my sister, Ivana Kopacz. And the 4 of us have been doing retreats for about 7 years now. And we also have a monthly call called Becoming, where so not only create like this like spiritual family on the retreats, you're able to connect with them monthly. And most of them have become like besties. So they're connecting anyway, but it's not like this just one-off where you're like flying and then it's like, oh my gosh, where do I land, right?
Yeah, it can be bumpy, the integration back in. So you're saying there's like this sisterhood support network. So I'm just curious, what do you guys do on the retreat? What do you get up to?
So many amazing things. I mean, for me, what I've done in the past has been mostly Tantra, healing of sexual traumas and things like that. This time I feel very called to do more ancestral work and storytelling. So I'm going to do a little bit more of that. Of course, I'll still bring in some of the juiciness, but Yadi, another one of the women, is going to do most of the Tantra stuff this time.
Okay.
So she was excited to take that over. She's like, I'll do it. I was like, okay, that sounds awesome. And then Ivana, my sister, she teaches us yoga every morning. She does a lot of embodiment.
Love it.
And Cora is really teaching people how to move from their head into their heart.
Yeah.
And just as you know, just being in Costa Rica, being in the jungle is its own medicine.
Yes. Yes.
So to me, once people show up,
That's it.
it's already done, right?
Yeah, it's already done. You're there. That's it. Just be there in Costa Rica with these women, with the Pura Vida life. It's all done. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
It's done. And so so I would say like the workshops and things like that are like icing on the cake. I mean, it's amazing, but like just Costa Rica in itself, the magic of the land and of the people is just so powerfully healing. And
You're the fourth person on this podcast that's into Costa, like that's like three of them are living in Costa Rica right now. Of just various women that I've interviewed recently, and then you're doing these retreats there. It's like because it's such a magnet, like what you're saying, for healing work, for embodiment work. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So, how do you stay connected, Anita, to your own creativity, sensuality, and joy while supporting others through such powerful and valuable work? What are some things that you do?
Boundaries are so important.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that one.
So important as far as because knowing when am I in the place to give, right? Because I do need to give from my overflow.
Yeah.
If I really feel myself giving from and feeling exhausted, I have to stop. Just
Yeah.
because there's so much. Like, not only are we doing all this, we're mothers, right? Like, I have 3 children. So,
Oh, how old are your children?
so my children, my oldest is 20. They're like, I guess my 2 oldest now are adult children. So my oldest is 20, my second oldest just turned 18, and then my youngest is 16.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm in a place right now that feels wonderful. Like, I feel like you're in a good place because when they were little, I'm like, I have 3 kids under 4. You know what I mean?
You made it through the wilderness.
I
Okay.
made it through the wilderness, and that was intense. If there's any mothers out there who are going through that time right now, I'm sending you so much love. There's so you'll get through it in so many ways. I think one of the things I remember was I felt like I forgot who I was,
Right.
and I was like, because all I was doing was like changing diapers and breastfeeding, and it was just
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
I guess it's just realizing and knowing that it's all a part of this beautiful process.
And then one day you'll be like, oh, I meant that. It's my baby.
That was my favorite. Breastfeeding was my favorite part of parenthood. I love breastfeeding. I just
Wow.
loved connecting to my babies in that way, and like just how automatically our bodies go into like this, like you have to relax, right? It's like,
Yeah, it's amazing how the autoimmune system works in our body to then mirror what they need, exactly their medicine in their body. It's crazy. It's crazy. Our bodies are insane.
amazing. I love it. We're miracles. We're miracles walking.
Yeah. And we're the portals. We're the portals to everything. Yeah.
It's a wonder how we even question that ever. Right?
I think it's probably because of the misaligned stories that we've been fed and that we're telling ourselves. And all of a sudden we like hate ourselves. And like, why do women hate ourselves? Like, what's going on? Men too. Men don't like themselves either.
Yeah. 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 It's all, I mean, I want to say it's all by design, but it's like, yeah, it's true. So coming back into that love, right? I feel like that's a part of our mission.
It is like the self-compassion, the self-love, the forgiveness, the grace. So if you could whisper one message to every survivor or soul seeking healing, what would it be?
You are already whole.
Yeah, that's a beautiful remembrance. You may be feeling broken, but you may be breaking open, but you are not broken, I like to say. Yeah, that's the lie, is that we're not whole. And then in this season of your life, Anita, what does being an authentic creative, because this is the authentic creative, expanding our capacity to feel good, what does being an authentic creative mean to you?
Doing whatever the fuck I want to do.
Okay, can we do this? Yes, yes. Yeah. My husband this morning, I didn't sleep well, and I said, I've got this important interview this morning. And he goes, yes, yes, yes. Because he saw you on Drew Barrymore. I showed him the clip.
I love that. I love it.
Oh, where did this come from? The pulling, because I felt like when Jake and I, my husband's name is Jake, when we did that this morning, I was like, oh yeah, you feel that? Do you feel you're like literally pulling the energy in?
Right? So I learned that from my Tantra coach, Sam Isadora, who is now in the heavens. And she was such a powerful, powerful being. And she brought that in. It's a Tantra form of breathing, but she brought in the yelling yes as you're doing it, right? And so and so you can actually feel it as it's going into your system and your body. So it's like physically, yes, obviously we're feeling it because we're doing something physically, but I feel like you could feel it on all levels, spiritually, emotionally, all throughout the body. And I mean, it's like a pick me up. They say it releases the same like hormones that come when you have an orgasm.
Yeah. Yeah. The serotonin and the dopamine, the receptors are all firing. I mean, it makes so much sense because that's what you say when you're having an orgasm. Yes. But also, I did that when I was birthing my second son, because I did 2 natural home water births, speaking of mermaids. And I was like, yes, body, yes, yes to the baby. Yes. So I love it. I love it. I love
That
it.
is beautiful. I love that. I love that. Okay, I feel like what I just got from that is like I'm gonna begin like yelling yes out when I'm doing hard things, right? Like
Yeah.
to feel hard, like I need to sit and do my taxes.
Steffi's taxes. I love your taxes. Oh, taxes.
I feel like as you were saying that, it just brought that in. Like, yeah, yes, it's gonna bring a whole different level to.
That's great. I mean, that's a golden nugget of wisdom right there. That's an actionable tip right there for you guys listening.
Right there we go.
Right there. We'll close on that beautiful high note. There's obviously chapters upon chapters upon chapters of wisdom that you are bringing to the world. Thank you, Anita, for the work that you do, the stories that you uncover, the healing that you're bringing to yourself. First and foremost, you're your own first client, right? And then the healing that you're bringing to so many people on so many levels, and the joy that you're bringing, the liberation that you're bringing, and the healing through sisterhood that you're bringing. I can't really do justice to your work through my words. I'm only trying. But I'm imagining that your books are incredibly powerful. I mean, just even looking at the covers, I'm wanting to dive in. So I'll have to start. Where should I start? Which one should I start with?
They're standalone, but this is the one that came out first. If you
Shallow Waters.
Shallow Waters, and then The Wind on Her Tongue is what just
The Wind on Her Tongue looks really enticing.
yes.
I
So
mean,
you
both, but
you could start with The Wind on Her Tongue, and then Shallow Waters would become like a backstory, but they're standalone, so you don't have to read one before the other.
okay, are these going to turn into movies? Because it
That
feels like
is-
they are.
We're in the process, and so let's send lots of yummy energy towards that. But yes, there is a process happening.
Okay. And you probably know some cool people that could work with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anita. You're amazing. So if people want to not only read your book, so I'll put the links, where, they want to reach out to you, they have questions, they want to come to Costa Rica, where do you want them to find you?
So I think on Instagram would be best. So that's at my name, Anita Kopacz, Anita Kopacz. And or goddesswisdomcouncil.com. There's a lot of information about what I offer there. And you can look up the Costa Rica retreat there on goddesswisdomcouncil.com.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Keep expanding your capacity to feel good, one breath at a time. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. What a wonderful journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If this episode resonated with you, I have one simple request for you to give yourself a moment to leave a 5-star review and share a few words about what the authentic creative meant to you. Your review isn't just for me, it's for the people out there searching for inspiration, healing, and reminder that they're not alone. Each review helps this podcast reach more souls who need this conversation, these breakthroughs, and this magic. So if this show has uplifted you in any way, expanded you in any way, or sparked something inside of you, pay it forward by rating, reviewing, and sharing it. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for being a part of this incredible community. Keep shining.